Welcome one, welcome all. If you don't know who this is, it's me, it's your boy, it's Ludi, part one of two Ludi tunes. It's been a while. It's been like 2 years. Me and Dooley been busy, doing career things, adult things, life. We got some pieces of paper that were expensive, It is what it is, but we're back. Mostly me. I'm back. I'm here. I have free time. I have free time for you and me. And Attack on Titan. I don't know if you've been living under a rock, or maybe you've been trapped behind some walls. So, what I'm going to do is talk about the good, the bad, and the stupid about Attack on Titan. Both the manga and the anime. Originally, I was going to talk about just the anime, but I felt like it wouldn't be doing the story justice. So, I read a lot of the manga, and I finished the manga, just so I could have a good grasp of the story and the plot. Let's get into the good. Now, honestly, I cannot complain about the first season. I love the first season. The story in the first season is so goddamn good. It's drawn beautifully. It's animated beautifully. It's creepy as hell. It's just so intriguing as an anime and a manga. The characters feel developed, the tragedies are constant, and there's a sense of betrayal that keeps you engaged every episode. The tension tends to also rise every episode. There are a lot of factors that draw you into the show. We got the violence. We got the edginess. We got the hot-ass female titan. I know you fellas are into that shit. So, with all this being said, there are a lot of compelling aspects of Attack on Titan. The twists, the turns, the show takes you through the first season is pretty fantastical. It's so freaking intriguing, and you feel a connection with some of these struggles. The show has a lot of loss, a lot of characters, a lot of people in the show that you feel a connection with. They die because it's Attack on Titan, so no crap they're gonna die. There are humans that can turn into titans, and then you could weaponize that when they become titans, they're aware of their actions, as opposed to the other titans that kind of just eat crap and just eat people. It starts to get even more interesting. And then season 2 has somewhat of this sort of conspiracy vibe where you're like, there's so much internal conflict within the regime, within whatever like force, like the military police, the scout regiment, and then, the royalty and the people living within the walls. There's a lot of weird things happening because of the distrust that Annie caused. Honestly, though, the characters feel kind of naive because they're like, we can't believe that our comrade would do this. We would never believe that any of our other comrades, this is the Colossal Titan, and this is the Armor Titan, would never believe that any of our comrades would do such a thing. They would never harm us. Well, I hope you understand that you're wrong and you're stupid for not even knowing that. Let's talk about the bad. There are a few things that I had issues with Attack on Titan. The plot is so convoluted. It is so complicated to take the audience through a story that is inconsistent and convoluted, especially if we're running the story through nearly 12 years of the manga or 8 years of the show. But let me tell you, after season 1, the viewer's left with this sense of excitement because they're like, oh snap, okay, I know what's going to happen. Now I know that humanity's good for the most part, and Titans are bad for the most part. Except Eren. Eren's supposed to help humanity because not all Titans are bad, I guess. Season 2 comes along and tells you, hey man, we got this beast Titan and he's real bad and he can talk. And that kind of just confuses the audience. They're like, what is this? Why can he talk? I guess Titans are humans. And you're like, okay, maybe. Let's see how this progresses. Season 2 is slow in comparison to Season 1 because there was so much action, but in Season 2, it's pretty much just Eren and his team just getting wrecked left and right by Reiner's group. By the Titans, it's fairly slow. Season 2 also tries to explain the whole bloodline thing and the origin of Titan by showing you that, oh, humans used to get punished by getting turned into Titans, particularly Ymir. She reveals that to Historia in I think episode 37. She's like, actually am a Titan. And then you get to see that way back when she actually ate up one of Reiner's friends. After she ate Reiner's friends, she turned human again. And then romance with Historia kind of unravels. And you're like, okay, it doesn't give me a lot of what I was looking for after season 1. In season 1, episode 9 and episode 16, we're introduced to the basement. Aaron's key to the basement, that Aaron's dad was like, bro, this basement has everything. And ever since that point in time, the entire mission has been trying to get to the basement. After season 2 and nearly 20 issues of the manga, barely anywhere near the basement. Failed missions left and right, people dying, internal conflict. Government sucks and they just want people to die as long as the rich royal are saved. And okay, I guess that's politics and that's somewhat interesting, but yeah, not really. Not to Attack on Titan. I'm pretty much saving the stupid element of the manga and the show for season 3, season 4, and the rest of the manga. What I found was the biggest issue was the constant flip-flopping of who is good and who is bad, even though these characters were established in the previous seasons and issues of the manga that, okay, humanity is good for the most part and Titans are bad for the most part. There are a lot of confusing elements of the show. It almost feels like the writer couldn't convey his own feelings towards the characters that he created. He left that to the viewers. That's okay, but you kind of feel the sense of, oh, I don't know how to feel about these characters because the writer himself couldn't decide. There are also a bunch of new characters that are being introduced throughout. In season 3, you're mostly being introduced to Kenny Ackerman and the Reese family and Historia's dad. You get this weird, again, the whole royal bloodline shenanigans that you're like, nah, it doesn't really affect me. Like, I don't care that much about it. In season 4, you are 4 years into the future, but you're constantly being dragged through flashbacks and the events that led you to the 4 years to where you're currently at. I was quite annoyed with that because that's how season 3 was ending. Season 3 ended with you finally figuring out what's in the basement because of a flashback. And then now you're 4 years in the future with all these new characters that you're like, I don't even know where I am. All I know is Reiner, and I guess that's where he came from. I think my biggest problem with the last 25 issues of the manga is that the majority of the manga and season 4 feel like he said this, he said that between Eren, Zeke, the Jaegerists, and Armin, Mikasa, and the OG squad that you have known for the past 3 seasons. Okay, let's go. Now, I'll admit, I think it was interesting how Eren was playing a double agent in Marley and using Falco, one of the warrior candidates, to kind of plan this attack on Marley. I like that element. But Eren's character still felt weird after they launched the attack. You had no idea where Eren really sided. Again, because it was like he said this to this group, but he actually meant this. And that's just how he was, and it kind of felt like he was getting rewritten every issue or so. Now, how the events actually unravel leading up to the ending of the manga, kind of weird and derived. I also think that the element of plot twists was just heavily abused because every issue that I was reading towards the end was like this huge plot twist. But no, actually, we're doing this. No, but actually, we're doing that. Just point me to a direction and I'll read. I just want like a straight path. I don't need the constant twist. It kind of loses the element of surprise when the twist just twists upon twists upon twists. I don't know why. I think when the writer was writing all these like twists, he was trying to be like, oh, I'm trying to connect it to this full circle thing. And he's also trying to like tie up all these loose ends. But it still felt like he didn't hit every single loose end that he kind of created in the past issues. I don't know if you've ever read Full Metal Alchemist, or if you've ever watched Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, but it has a very similar concept of the gate and the original homunculus in Full Metal to the original Titan. They have similar origins. Not to say that a story cannot be good if it has some inspirations from a different manga or show, but even so, the origin of the Titan didn't feel that satisfying. You kind of almost don't care about the origin of the Titan because you didn't really learn to love the origin of the Titan story as much as you kind of cared about where I was in the present time, and I kind of was following this group that hated Titans and that just wanted to take over or even just restore humanity. But then when you find out that humanity hated a particular group based on a war that was 2,000 years ago because of the origin of Titans, you're like, well, that's so weird. So who do I like? Who do I care for? Everyone's kind of a villain. There is no true hero to the show. Not a single one. Last thing. I watched and read Attack on Titan for years. I followed the show. I followed the manga. I can't say that I'm truly disappointed with the ending. And honestly, I don't know if I feel like spoiling it to you guys. It ends in a pretty tragic way. After everything being said and done, the ending of Attack on Titan is tragic. I think it's sad how one of the most beloved characters, Eren, was kind of done badly. He was written badly towards the end. In season 3, he was really obnoxious and annoying. He was constantly crying. There was this sense of pity and self-worthlessness, and you're like, dude, in season 1 and 2, you were wrecking everything. I need that, Eren. And then in season 4, 4 years in the future, he's this apathetic, different type of edgy. And up until the last bit of the manga, you kind of get a bit of like original Eren back. At the end of it, you kind of lose him as a protagonist. He turned into a straight up antagonist. He wipes out a large portion of humanity, and it's kind of crazy. It's been an interesting ride. I hope you get to watch the show. I hope you get to read the manga. I hope you get the sense of fulfillment that you want. But I also want you to keep something in mind. Attack on Titan is full of tragedy and loss. So, whatever character you think you love, just be prepared that you might not see him in the next issue. Attack on Titan is a phenomenon. It was received worldwide as one of the best mangas and one of the best shows of its time. I think a lot of people felt connected to the show at one point in time. Now, I know that me pointing out these flaws or having certain critiques may seem like, oh man, I straight up hate the show. I don't. I read the manga and watched the show for a long time. I followed the show since it first came out. I had shirts, I had the backpack with the scout regiment, whatever, and I get it. I understand what it's like to really be into a show. But there's nothing wrong with pointing out certain things that I didn't like about it. And that's kind of just what I'm doing. But I know for a fact that there are hardcore fans who love almost every aspect of the show. And honestly, to each their own. I think I'm just more sad about how the story towards the end was kind of all over the place. And some of the characters were getting these weird sudden changes that felt like little rewrites based on what you built the character like in your head from years ago. But it's okay. Just because something could have been done a bit better doesn't mean that I absolutely hate everything about it. And with that, thank you for watching. If you watched, thanks for tuning in. And thank you to Hajime Asayama for creating Attack on Titan and for an interesting ride and for sharing with us the story. Thank you, viewer, for watching me talk about the show and the manga. Appreciate you. Hopefully I'll see you in another video soon. Subscribe, like, yeah, editor. Let's see an outro. See you. Jumbo 6, 5, 4,